I never thought I'd hear the words that would shatter the life I had carefully built. My wife, the woman I had trusted with my heart and my home, looked me in the eye and said, "It's over. My new boyfriend is taking me to London." For a moment, the room spun. My mind scrambled to understand, to grasp how someone I loved could so casually discard me. I smiled. Not a nervous smile, not a pleading one, but a calm, measured smile. "Enjoy your flight," I said simply, letting the words land like a blade in the air between us. She laughed, a bright, careless laugh, convinced of her own freedom, convinced that she had the upper hand. She didn't know that the man she called her new boyfriend wasn't the random stranger she thought he was. He was my newest intern, fresh-faced, eager, obedient, completely unaware of the web he had stepped into. I had hired him weeks ago, a promising young professional with ambition in his eyes and respect for authority. I had no idea how perfectly he would fit into my plans when the time came. I waited. I watched them as they prepared for the trip, my silence a cloak around the storm brewing inside me. I watched her pack her bags with her head held high, excitement lighting her features, while I remained composed, seemingly indifferent. Every detail, every gesture, was a tick of the clock counting down to the moment I would reclaim my dignity. When they boarded the plane, I acted. One simple text, short and cold. "You're fired." The intern froze, confused at first. Then panic flashed across his face as he realized he had been manipulated into being a pawn in someone else's life. My wife, seated beside him, had no idea that her escape plan had just collapsed. The rest of the day unfolded like a carefully choreographed play. Her phone buzzed repeatedly with notifications she couldn't interpret in time. She tried to reach me, calls ignored, texts unanswered. By the time the flight took off, her confidence had already begun to crack. She had imagined victory, triumph over what she considered my weakness. Instead, she was suspended in disbelief, trapped by the consequences of her own choices. I didn't gloat. I didn't shout. I simply observed, letting her panic simmer, letting the realization dawn that she had underestimated me. Every secret smile she had given herself, every plan she had made to mock or belittle me, now hung over her like a shadow. In the weeks that followed, she tried to salvage her pride. She called. She barged into my office. She attempted to weave excuses, to rationalize her actions, to manipulate. But I was calm. The truth had already spoken. The intern, once a willing participant, now refused contact, having learned the hard lesson that involvement in betrayal carries consequences. Her network, mutual friends, and colleagues began to notice the cracks in her story. The confident, carefree woman who had announced her freedom to the world was suddenly isolated, exposed, and vulnerable. I rebuilt my life quietly, deliberately. I invested in my career, strengthened friendships, and focused on my own goals. I discovered a strange liberation in her betrayal. For the first time, I was untethered from the illusion of control she had once wielded over me. I no longer needed to fight for her respect or prove my worth to someone incapable of gratitude or loyalty. And in turn, he never returned. Fired not for incompetence, but for being entangled in deceit. A small, deliberate lesson. Betrayal thrives on manipulation, and anyone who chooses to be complicit deserves the consequences. Months later, I walked past her in the streets. She looked at me, eyes wide with a mix of regret, disbelief, and unspoken apology. I didn't acknowledge her. I smiled politely, letting the silence speak. Her new boyfriend, once my pawn, had long vanished from the picture. The life she had imagined, built on deception, was gone, and I had emerged stronger, wiser, and unshakable. The truth is, betrayal is devastating, but it can also be transformative. I had learned patience, strategy, and the power of silent action. I didn't need revenge in the traditional sense, because life itself had a way of balancing the scales. Every step she had taken to discard me became a lesson in resilience, a testament to the strength I had discovered within myself. By the time she tried to reach out again, it was too late. I had moved forward, focused on my growth, and unburdened by the toxicity that had once clouded my life. The intern, the plane, the London trip. Everything had been a stage, and I had controlled the script without ever showing my hand. In the end, her betrayal didn't break me. It revealed me. It forced me to see clearly who I could trust, who I could rely on, and most importantly, what I deserved. I deserved honesty, loyalty, and respect. And from that day forward, I would accept nothing less.